The global pasta market is anticipated to be worth around $35 billion by 2030, up from nearly $27 billion in 2023, according to firm Research and Markets. A small slice of the market belongs to London-based company Pasta Evangelists. What is really interesting to me about Pasta Evangelists is that it started as a luxury pasta subscription box service in the UK, but has since grown into a multifaceted business with multiple revenue streams. Not only do they still sell these gourmet subscription boxes, but they now offer on-demand meal delivery and have opened a London-based pasta academy where they offer pasta making classes. Lagun, one of the company's 3 co-founders, is the company's self-proclaimed creative one and operates as the company's chief marketing officer. He appeared on our Forbes 30 Under 30 Europe retail and e-commerce list in 2022.
We founded Pasta Evangelists in London in 2016. We literally set up the business in a basement in West London, somewhere called Notting Hill. Our old chairman kindly offered his basement room for us to set up the business. We had no Wi-Fi. We were huddling around my co-founder Chris's hotspot on his phone. In the early days, we were only delivering pasta to certain neighborhoods of London. So very, very, very small. We were hand delivering ourselves, packing the pasta ourselves, delivering the pasta ourselves. And I remember, pitching up at customers' doors in that part of London, knock, knock, knock. Here's your pasta, jumping back on the tube, heading back to our basement office. And that was the inception of the business. Today we're fully vertically integrated, so we have a pastificio, a factory now, where we make all of our fresh pasta, but back then it was outsourced. We've sold pasta to approximately 2 million consumers across the UK. Bearing in mind our population is about 66 million. We have sold pasta to every single city.
In early 2021, pasta giant Barilla bought a majority stake in Pasta Evangelists. Though the companies declined to disclose financial terms of the deal, multiple reports say Barilla paid some £40 million. As of Barilla's latest annual report in 2022, the company's revenue reached nearly $5 billion. It is one of the largest pasta manufacturers in the world and competes with companies like Nestle, Dseco, Campbell, and others.
So Barilla is our majority shareholder, and as founders, we remain incentivized within the business and have equity still. I think a lot of people assume that when a very large entity acquires a smaller entity, the larger entity is somehow going to interfere or try and alter or amend or change how the smaller entity operates. But actually, what I've seen with Barilla has been the complete opposite. I think one of the reasons for the partnership for the acquisition was for Barilla, which is a very, very large company, to see how a company which weirdly is in exactly the same space, pasta, Italian food, does it in a completely different way in terms of how we move, the speed we move in, have the direct relationship with the customer.
Our objective was for this brand to be part of a larger group, because that would give it longevity. This was the plan from day one. And indeed, we met Barilla on day one. We met on day one, on day 3, and we sold the business to Barilla, and we're still here with the business Barilla today. Finn is our CMO. We got introduced in a very peculiar way. I wrote an email to a bunch of contacts of mine. I BCC'd them all. I said, I'm looking for a co-founder CMO. And this lady, who I met once, got in touch with me saying, you know what, why don't you meet my friend Finn? Finn had prepared a very impressive presentation on a number of tasks, topics, questions. And I remember thinking, this is very well thought out, the design, the copy, the ideas, the analytics. Before you know it, we met again, we had a coffee with my co-founder Chris, and within like 40, 50 minutes, I kind of saw this vortex of energy kind of like happening in this like a hurricane or typhoon in the corner of the room. And he was just typing away, oh, give me the password for the email, the CRM system, this link is broken, this photograph is wrong, this copy is wrong, let me change this. And within like 40, 50 minutes, he kind of done more work than we'd achieved in the previous month. I told myself, Alex, maybe this time you got it right.
The COVID pandemic completely changed the fortunes of Pasta Evangelists. At the beginning of the pandemic, in the very first days, consumers all across the country were rushing to buy certain goods. Pasta was nowhere to be found, and at the same time, no one wanted to leave their home because of the great unknown. So we found ourselves as a pasta home delivery entity operating in a climate where there was no pasta to be had. So as a business, we couldn't have been better positioned. We responded quite quickly with email marketing, for example, to reassure customers about our contingency planning, what we were doing, the fact that our operations would continue. And in that moment, our sales shot up. The business grew about tenfold between March and April 2020. And, we were working really 20-hour days to make that happen. We literally just had to recruit and recruit and recruit. The situation for workers at the time was also very difficult because hospitality, of course, had completely shut down. So all of the workers who had previously been working in restaurants and the service sector were suddenly available to work, and we were fortunate that we could bring them in to support Pasta Evangelists.
Sales grew tenfold, and we physically didn't have space, nor food, nor cold rooms, nor people to pack the foods. And the team was saying, let's turn off the orders. And I was like, do not turn off the orders. Somehow we'll figure it out. We've had every sort of challenge, HR, finance. But that's when if you're doing new things, inevitably you're going to make mistakes and therefore have serious challenges. You can't hire ahead of them because resources are scarce. And therefore I think it's reacting quickly, ultimately getting resources around you so you avoid these challenges, and just having a brave face.
I remember being asked by our then board of directors, they said, Finn, what's going to happen after the pandemic? And of course I took off the cloth from my crystal ball and wiped the crystal ball to look into the future. But of course no one had any idea what would happen after COVID. But I think we saw that already the home delivery service that we had hitherto been running and that had surged during COVID, we saw this was tailing off, and that was inevitable because people had been cooped up in their homes for over a year. And as we saw that business starting to stutter and go downwards, we simultaneously started expanding what we call our takeaway business. So we are in the Pasta Evangelists Pasta Academy in London, in Farringdon, in the old heart of London. This is where we teach our guests to come and learn how to make fresh pasta. The reason we have our Pasta Academy is because Pasta Evangelists is the authority in fresh pasta. And we don't believe in just saying we're the authority and in marketing language. We actually want to show our customers, our audiences, that we are the authority. Our events business is a small part of our overall business, probably about 10%, but it's extremely profitable because ultimately our costs in the Pasta Academy are essentially low. So in terms of the bottom line, it's a significant profit generator for Pasta Evangelists. We opened our first Pasta Academy where we're standing in 2022, early 2022, and demand has been so high for our classes. We're the #1 ranked food experience in London on TripAdvisor. So the demand has been huge, word of mouth has been huge.
I introduce myself as a chef Alex here. I'm to run about 8 classes per week. Working with the marketing team is amazing. We're having this brainstorming of ideas during the meeting, and we're having so many initiatives that we're doing for many things that are happening during the year. For instance, Roberta, she created a shape which was completely dedicated for the Chinese New Year, for the Year of the Dragon.
Roberta Delia is Pasta Evangelists' head pasta artisan, and who Finn refers to as the woman behind Pasta Evangelists' fresh pasta renaissance.
I've always been in the food industry. I started very early. I started because I had to basically try to support myself at the university. So I started in a little restaurant in my hometown in Foggia. And then I thought, wow, this is actually my job. And since then, I never stopped. My day can start with a video shoot, or it can start in this kitchen trying to, produce a new sauces, trying to make, something different. That's what we did a couple of months ago, creating our Pasta Dragon. So my day can be in any part of the business. Welcome to our pastificio. This is our main room where we produce the fresh pasta. At the moment we are making the tagliatelle. So this machine is starting to stretch the dough. The dough is made with the semola and water. The machine will stretch the dough. Getting into shape is from here. So this is made with the semola, rimacinata and water. So it's simply 2 ingredients, and it's going to be processed in the big machine where both ingredients, they're going to be mixed together, and then we started to stretch the dough. It's very important, the stretching, so you get the right consistency. This is the area where we produce the sauces. So here behind me you will see a really large pan. And we are currently producing cacio and pepe. So here we'll be putting all the ingredients. The machine slowly will cook and then finish off the product. Well, from here will be then moved to another room where we can pack in individual packaging. So here, and that's basically the final product. And this is ready to go. Come this way, guys. Today we have made, this is one of my favorite, melanzane alla parmigiana. And these are used for our antipasti, so it's a kind of a starter. And you can see also at the bottom we have one of our pesto lasagna, which is with one of our best sauce, which is basil pesto. This one we mainly use for our takeaway kitchens. So he will be baked, then sealed and sent to our kitchen, then to be distributed around the customer that they order the hot food, so the takeaway food. This is the finished product for our customer at home.
Although we're in our pastificio, and as you can see, it's a huge, almost industrial premises, it's really important to us that our gastronomy remains Italian, remains authentic, but it's also important that we use sustainable ingredients. Where it's necessary, we will use Italian products. Where it's not necessary, we use local products from the UK. So for example, tomatoes, for our best intentions in the UK, we don't grow tomatoes. We do, but not very nice ones. So tomatoes come from Italy. Mozzarella cheese, by definition, it comes from Italy. But if it's a matter of, a simple cabbage, for instance, it's going to be from the United Kingdom. Anything we can get here, close as possible to kilometer zero, we will do it. Average price point completely depends on the channel, but in our takeaway business, for example, if a customer is ordering a delivery and they're going to have, let's say, some of our basil pesto lasagna, it's going to cost around 11 to 12 pounds. Something like a carbonara, 10 pounds, 11 pounds. The entry price is around 8 pounds, which will be your simple tomato sauce. In 10 years' time, Pasta Evangelists, I would like to be in with a physical, customer-facing concept on all of the nicest high streets in the UK to start with, and in fantastic cities internationally with a franchise business, amazing franchise partners.
Yesterday we met a very large travel operator where there could be a huge opportunity in one of the world's biggest airports to have a Pasta Evangelists units. 4 minutes ago I was writing an email to a US investor to see if they want to partner with us for launching in America. Last week we met the biggest restaurant chain in China to see if they want to launch Italian food in China. So the list is, the world's our oyster.
I think it's really important to me as a British person doing a fresh pasta concept ironically using a French term, but to pay homage to the country that I'm talking about all day, representing all day, whose products I'm selling. I think you need to show respect.
In Italy, we cook a little bit different, yeah? So we go a little bit like a handful of this, a handful of that, a pinch of salt, a pinch of pepper. I was really proud to bring, the Italian flavor and recipe. Some recipe I have stolen from my family. Don't tell them because they still don't know.
What is pasta means to me? Well, its origins is memories, loads of memories with my grandmother, Marianna. I remember Sunday mornings, waking up really early, preparing the ragu on the side and starting to make the gnocchis.
Right now we have 44 what we call in the UK dark kitchens. Maybe in the US they're called ghost kitchens. I don't know what the name is. And we're not therefore serving customers and looking them in the eye when we're serving them. We are just delivering a bag to them. And, the whole point of Italy is its, gregarious character and the passion of its people and the music and the sounds and the smells. So we want customers to be served in person by us as well as delivery, but we want them to have the opportunity to come into an amazing, beautiful, aspirational premises. So I'm hoping we're going to have thousands of these all over the world in 10 years' time.